If you're peeling back the layers of what it really means to be well, let's talk about one of the most overlooked foundations of health: water. Your body is made up of over 60 to 70% of water. Every cell, every thought, every emotion depends on proper hydration. And yet, most tap water today contains toxins and microplastics that burden the body instead of nourish it. This is why I love Kangen water by Enagic. Through a process called electrolysis, the machine creates high pH, antioxidant rich water that's rich in minerals like magnesium and calcium. It's designed to deeply hydrate your cells, like drinking fresh water from a mountain stream. The higher the pH settings support mineral density and cellular hydration, which directly impacts your energy, mental clarity, mood, and overall well being. Here's a fun fact: just a 1% drop in hydration can increase symptoms of anxiety and low mood. Hydration isn't just physical, it's emotional and mental too. If we're serious about becoming fully human, fully embodied, and fully alive, we can't ignore the water we drink every single day. If this resonates, reach out. There's a link in the show notes to contact me directly. Your body and your nervous system will thank you. Welcome back to Peel the Onion. I'm Olivia Maxwell, and today we're talking about the most sacred and potent threshold a woman will ever cross. Not because it's the hardest, although at times it is, and not because it's the most beautiful, though that's true too, but because it's the one that really peels you back to your core. It makes you question absolutely everything, and you pick apart every part of yourself that you've built until that threshold crossing. I'm talking about motherhood, and specifically, I want to touch on what nobody actually says out loud about it, and it's the identity dissolving. The identity of the maiden before you became a mother, that part of you who you loved, the fire, the ambitious woman, focus on goals and building a life for yourself, purely your independence, your joys, all of that. And also the lineage patterns that resolve from crossing this threshold. Not just the identity dissolving, but also what comes up and what you're really faced with within your lineage, within those who have come before you, knowing you're the one you've been waiting for to let go of these patterns. And then we'll also discuss what this all actually means in the body, not just as a concept, but mothering from wholeness rather than from wound, which I believe many who are tuning in haven't been shown this themselves and are remothering and reparenting themselves as they parent their little ones. So let's dive in and peel the onion. A year ago today, on this exact day, I had a group of women over to celebrate my threshold crossing from maiden to mother. I called it a mother's blessing, and I had my beautiful best friend hold this space of oracle cards in a circle. There was flowers that everyone brought, gifts, and prayers that I asked for beforehand to take into my birth space whenever that came. At this stage, I was 37 weeks pregnant, by the way. And my husband and I had just moved into our newly renovated home. It had been 3 weeks, and my due date was another 3 weeks or so away, 2.5 weeks. But this ceremony that I held, having all these beautiful women around me, little did I know that a week after this exact ceremony that I would be giving birth, that I'd meet my first child, my beautiful daughter. And I thought I had an understanding of what was coming. My days were already quite full getting our renovation completed in time, knowing I was having a home birth. I would rock up to our reno site and all the tradesmen would see me with a big pregnant belly, and that would keep them focused. They ended up turning everything around so quickly within 2 months. Head to toe, our apartment was completely upgraded. And this was the state I was in. We were living with my parents as well, while we were renovating. So I was in this masculine doing whilst also looking after myself and resting. But when the threshold time came, nobody could ever prepare me, and nobody did tell me what shattering would take place. I was aware that there was a crossing. I had crossed many big thresholds before in my career, in my identity as a psychologist to a more integrative healer. My life was a record of many brave moments of letting go and surrender. But birth was just a whole other level. And not just only birth, but also being a mother. I'm coming up to a year now until my baby's 1, and that year of who I've become and where I've come from, and seeing my baby daughter who's with me now as I share my wisdom in this way. Coming back to the shattering that occurred, nothing could prepare me, not even my psychology training. But what I brought into the birth space was preparation, and I can't deny all that work I did that led to the most incredible experience of witnessing my body give birth. Like, holy crap. It was always blown me away that my first birth was that mind blowing. Like, no interventions in the space of my home, 10-hour labor, which I've learned is very short for your first child. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I am sharing this because the evidence is there of how much preparation I did do. What I am saying is a shattering that we don't talk about. No one really talks about. And I want to share that more here. That you go in as one woman and you come out as another. That passage between the two isn't smooth. It can happen in the 3 a.m. feeds in the early postpartum window. It can happen when you're returning to work and also wanting to show up as a conscious, present mum. What I learned now is you don't lose all the work you've done, or you don't shatter it all. It's transforming, it's a higher vibration that comes through it. You've built a foundation, but now as you become a mother, it's a whole other level of structure that you hold, and that is the role now. Stepping into the role of motherhood also brought some interesting learnings and experiences. What I mean by this is the patterning that resurfaced that I thought I had healed and transformed, but there was another layer. And this, yeah, being a human always humbles me. There's always layers to dig within, but specifically speaking towards pregnancy and becoming a mum, the layers that surface were around my lineage, the women before me, what was not spoken, what was not shared, and what hadn't been transformed yet. And I felt this all in my body when I was living with my family. I noticed how my body shrunk in rooms just to keep the harmony. It was people pleasing because I already felt so overwhelmed with, not overwhelmed, I felt like I was already doing so much with our renovation and growing a baby and also moving 3 times. So I resisted leaning into what was coming up. until I really gave myself space to lean into it. And it surprised me, and it was surprising because it felt really uncomfortable to have the opportunity to cast out what no longer served, to speak up for myself, to draw lines and boundaries when others expected more from me, but I didn't want to give more. And it all makes sense because your baby is calling forth a higher vibration. All our children come in at a higher vibration than what you are. And my baby was absolutely rocking my whole life for the better. Like, it blows me away how much transformation happened in those 9 months of pregnancy. I lost a job. I left my registration officially as a psychologist. I moved 3 times, as I said. I renovated. We bought a property, completely gutted it, renovated it, everything. Only kept 2 doors. And I was growing a baby all at the same time. So the healing you do in pregnancy and even early motherhood, it's completely transformative. I'm not saying other parts of your life it isn't, but from experience now, it's so rewarding because you see and you feel what your child doesn't take on. The work you do in this chapter is not being transferred over. They do not have to do this themselves, just like you are doing. And that's one of the most profound gifts you will ever give to your child. There was a moment in my birth with my daughter. Afterwards, my beautiful midwife, Janine, said to me, after testing my daughter's sucking reflex with latching for breastfeeding, she couldn't get her pinky finger out of her mouth. She said, "You gave her that gift. That was your gift to her because I didn't have intervention in my birth, which meant she had her natural primal sucking reflex." And that brought so much emotion and tears to my eyes to realize the simplicity and the power of that choosing the home birth that was always planted in me from the start. And the last part of this episode today is about another area that nobody tells you about. And it's got to do with your nervous system. It's the part that once you cross the threshold into motherhood, once you've given birth, then you're a mother straight away. For those who aren't yet mothers, that logically seems obvious, but once you cross the threshold, and I know those who are tuning in who are mums know what I mean by you're that baby's carer, giver, and protector and guide. That's your role. So you've got to feed them, you've got to clean them, care for them, put them to sleep. All these layers that just happen like that once you give birth. And it's primal. It's very primal. You don't need to teach yourself in the way of your body knows, just like giving birth. Your body was created to give birth. But again, there's catching up to do. What I noticed was the complete transition of what my life was to then what it became just within a moment. It became dedicating my entire day, every moment, day and night to my baby. And that blows me away still to this day, that becoming a mother, that is the role and our capabilities as women. It's just, I'm still, yeah, speechless. And I hand on heart forget that myself. Forget how much I do because I'm so in it. But I know every single mother is doing so much more than what they give themselves credit for. And it's so important that we take those moments and we have that close community around us to mirror back our magnificence. And I was very blessed, and I am blessed to have that happen in my life. Today was a beautiful example of that happening. meeting with my best mate and receiving love and appreciation for who I am, which just nourished me so much because lately it's been not much sleep with more teethies coming and growing pain, the growth spurt too. You just don't know what's around the corner. But back to the nervous system piece that I've really learnt is the difference between mothering from wholeness and mothering from wound. The mothering from wound is reaction. It's fight or flight. It's that rushing and the questioning, voice in your head that criticizes and judges before you have even said a word to your child. It's operating from your head mainly when your daughter, your child needs you in your body. And the difference from wound to wholeness, well, wholeness is more of being present and being in the now, being in flow, being connected to your body and how it's feeling, not getting swept up in your feeling. No, that's a wonderful skill that all mothers do, compartmentalize, because you need to show up to your child fully in that moment. But it's still being you and your fullness in your essence without that inner critic running in the background, because then you're not actually present if your mind's running. And without questioning whether you're doing it right again, because that's the mind running the shop. Wholeness is more of that fulfillment, regardless what's showing up in the day, regardless if your baby's screaming, you're still fully there, present, immersed. And you feel the joy of it all. But you can't learn about this only through books or courses or finding the right framework or even trying harder. It's really in the body. It's your nervous system. And when you drop from your sympathetic, which is that stress response, that mind running the show, the monkey mind, to the wholeness space of your parasympathetic nervous system where you feel safe to digest all of that stimulus that's happening in your environment, your baby feels that directly. Not just your body, your baby. And that's where everything shifts. The simple things in the day, the daily rituals, become the foundation of everything to hold you in this parasympathetic, safe, digesting place. And sitting on the earth, that alone is profound for me. I dedicate my days to going down. I live near the ocean, so going to sit on the sand, being in the breeze, breathing in my body, connecting with Mother Nature, animals, letting go of what isn't mine to carry. Because as mothers, again, we carry so much and we're responsible for a lot, but it's not in a way of carrying a heavy load of responsibility. It's an honor. It's realizing that it's such an honor and a sacred role that you are guiding this child. You are its protector, its guardian, and its guide. And if you're not okay, remember that your family cannot be okay because you are the structure, you hold it. That's not a guilt statement, it's a permission slip for you to start choosing yourself. If you're someone who finds that hard and you've just entered motherhood, know that your family will be better off by you looking after yourself and doing the things that nourish you. I already shared an example of going down to the beach, very simple. Whatever it is, do more of that. Schedule 5 minutes at least a day, if not more, to nurture you. And remember, getting to be in your wholeness is not selfish or self-indulgence. It's the most important thing you can do for the people you love, and that ripples out to everyone. But to close our episode today is coming back to the heart, knowing That fear is always going to be louder than your heart, your body leading the way. That's your soul. But that is your answer. When the mind gets overwhelmed with too much noise, too many options to do this, that, etc., spend time outside in nature, alone, breathe, connect, listen. And now that I'm nearly a year since crossing the threshold from maiden to mother, I reflect on who am I a year later. I'm someone who's a lot more connected in myself to who I really am. I'm clearer about what's truly important, what's not, what deserves my attention and what doesn't. I'm more rooted in this life, in how I'm showing up and who I want to be and become more of. And that's the choice I make every day, regardless of the fuller days, balancing business and motherhood in the way that I love to be in both present and both heart-led. But knowing this is me and I can't deny this because then I'd be doing a disservice to my daughter and my husband, my whole family, and the world. But really, it's such an honor to sit with how recognizable I've become to the woman I was before. And I would never trade a single moment of that shattering, that dissolving, that got me here to where I am now. So, for the woman that's listening and is about to cross this sacred threshold, or who already has and are rebuilding themselves as well, your dissolving is only the beginning of a new, more aligned you and life. And so many gifts come with this. So much precision comes, and clarity and love and joy, because you are choosing your highest path, because you are surrendering to your highest path. You are letting go of what no longer serves, knowing that you now serve as a mother first. And that's your choice. I'm not saying it's the best way, but from experience now and really taking careful note of my journey for the last year specifically, that is my gift to you. So if this episode landed for you, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. And if you feel the call to do this work in your own body for your lineage, there's a link in the show notes that I've added to book a one-to-one for me. I've just launched a 75-minute session called Meet You, Akashic Records, where we open the templates of your soul, your incarnations, past lives, and your highest timeline. We access this within that session, as well as integrating your body, your breath through it all. There are a few spaces available next week, online and in person. This is really an experience to get you to tune into the version of you that already exists, fully you, unmistakably you, and freely you. So I'm really honored to be back in this one-on-one way and evolve together. Thank you for tuning in. Let's all stay rooted, alive, and full out in our lives. Until next time, everyone. Bye.